This bonus episode of Trivia in Chief is about Air Force One and how it got its famous call sign. The first president to fly in an airplane was Teddy Roosevelt, who was piloted by H. Huxley in St. Louis on October 11, 1910, 1 year after Roosevelt left office. The flight took 3 minutes and 20 seconds, and Roosevelt was ecstatic after the flight. The historic event was also captured on film. The first president to fly while in office was Franklin Roosevelt. In January of 1943, Roosevelt took a Pan Am flight across the Atlantic to the Casablanca Conference. His plane was Boeing D-14 Clipper, called the Dixie Clipper. He returned from the trip on board the same plane, and celebrated his birthday in flight. Many of the president's aides found it concerning if the president was flying commercial flights instead of a private plane. Admiral Henry Arnold asked the Douglas Skycraft Company to build a plane specifically for the president, based on the Douglas C-54. The new plane was dubbed the Douglas VC-54C, but was nicknamed the Sacred Cow. The Sacred Cow transported Roosevelt to the Yalta Conference, and after his death was used by Harry Truman. In 1947, Truman made the Air Force its own branch of the military, and the document was signed inside the Sacred Cow. Soon afterwards, Truman replaced the plane with the Douglas VC-118, called Independence, named after Truman's hometown of Independence, Missouri. Independence was used until 1953, when Eisenhower became president. During World War II, his personal airplane had been named Columbine, as his wife was from Colorado, whose official flower is the columbine. Shortly after entering office, a new presidential plane was christened, called Columbine II. Shortly after Columbine II entered service, it was flying to New York City under the call sign Air Force Flight 8610. Air traffic controllers confused it with nearby Eastern Airlines Flight 8610, and the two planes nearly collided. After this, the call sign Air Force One was created for any plane the president is on board. In 1954, Columbine II was replaced by Columbine III, the final primary presidential airplane to use propellers. In 1959, Eisenhower began using a Boeing 707 Stratoliner nicknamed Queenie. Queenie was the first primary Air Force One to use jet engines. In the 1960s, Kennedy began using another 707 as his plane. This plane, officially called VC-137C, was the first Air Force One to use its now iconic color scheme. This is the plane Lyndon B. Johnson was sworn in on. It, along with a sister plane, were replaced in the early 1990s. Air Force One is a relatively recent addition to the list of icons of the presidents. Many of the past presidents' planes are preserved in museums across the country. Thank you.